Hey guys, Max Thrust. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today's tutorial is about escaping the atmosphere. We'll see you at the KSC. Hey guys, now that we're here, let's go ahead and take a look at the VAB. Once you get inside the VAB, this is where we're going to build the rocket that's going to get us out of the atmosphere. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a command pod under the pods tab. And then the next thing I like to do is always make sure we get a parachute. Once we get the parachute done, you're going to want to add something to stop your craft from burning up in the atmosphere. Now, realistically, you're not going to burn up in a short suborbital trajectory. It's good, though, I think, to always put one on. One thing I like to do is I like to adjust this. I like to see how much it's covered. I like to just bring it right there at the bottom. You don't have to do that. It's just a pet peeve of mine that they don't line up properly. Another big thing you want to do is you do not need 200 ablator. This is the material that keeps the heat from building, and it burns off as you go through the atmosphere. For a suborbital, I usually always run with a 40. That's even more than enough. You could actually go with 20, but the whole purpose of that is it's going to lighten your craft and it's going to cost less delta V to get it out of the atmosphere. Next up, we're going to go ahead and grab a decoupler under your couplings. The TD12 decoupler is the size for the 1.25 meter. From there, now there's two options here. I'm going strictly off of, maybe you're doing a career mode, maybe you don't have all the parts unlocked right now, so we're going to go off with what is the cheapest possible way to get up. Now, one thing you can do is you can use, if I can find it, if I go to where it's actually located, you can use a flea. A flea is good, but if you're going to save this craft and use it multiple times, I would go with the hammer. So go ahead and slap the hammer onto the back end there. Okay, so what you got right now is this is your second stage, and this is the stage that's going to get you actually into space. One thing I like to do is drag my chute down, put it here so that when I do decouple, it already arms my chute and we're good to go. One thing you should make sure of, and I'll show you once we get out of this screen, is putting on your advanced tweakables, which will cause your parachute to only deploy when it's safe. So first up, what we're going to do is click down here, and we're going to open up your stage 1. So stage 1 right now says that we have a thrust weight of 4.31. That's way too much. Let's go ahead and drag by right clicking, drag this down and see if we can get it around 1.3. Now the nice thing about this is you can always adjust it. So if, say, you're going to actually put a payload on here that's more than just this capsule, you're going to want to adjust to make sure your thrust to weight is high enough to keep pushing the craft forward. Alright, so 1.29 is fine. It's going to burn for 79 seconds. Next step is you're going to add a second decoupler right here at the bottom. Once you get that decoupler on, let's go ahead and use our main booster, which is going to be the thumper. You can go with a fuel, liquid fuel tanks and one of those engines, but like I said before, I'm going with whatever the cheapest possible way, and if you're doing a career mode, you're going to have these parts before you have everything else that you need. So I'm going to throw some fins on here under aerodynamics, just these basic fins, just to help stabilize us while we're in the thicker atmosphere. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. Right now, we're at a thrust to weight of 2.05. I'm going to bring that down to about 1.4. All right, 1.4, perfect. So what we got here is 1174 delta V in our first stage. We will decouple ignite our second stage, which provides us another 1500 delta V. If you go here under your delta V tools, we can put vacuum on, and realistically you're going to be closer to 1700 delta V on your second stage. All right, let's go ahead and name this max thrust 1. Save it. If you haven't chosen a pilot yet, you can go in here under the crew tab and pick a pilot. You want to probably use Jeb or Valentina because they're the two that have SAS, and with SAS you will be able to actually steer your rocket a little bit more than it just kind of going wherever it wants to. All right, everything looks good there. Let's go ahead and save and see what we got. Hey guys, like I said in the VAB, I was going to show you how to turn on your advanced tweakables. So you can do this at any time, but since we're here on the pad, go ahead and hit your escape key. Once you hit your escape key, it's going to have your little box come up, and go ahead and click on settings. And then you're just going to scroll down until you get to advanced tweakables. It should be disabled if you've never turned it on. Go ahead and click that and enable it. Hit apply, accept, resume flight, and you're all done. All right, welcome to the launch pad. So first what I'm going to do is push T on my control panel, and that's going to, or I should say my keyboard, and that's going to turn on our SAS. Now you might not have all of these functions yet. I'm playing on Sandbox right now to show this demonstration, but it will at least give you stability assistance if you have a pilot. The next thing you want to do is check your staging. Always make sure that what you thought you were planning on doing is actually what's on the launch pad. And it looks like we are good to go there. So next step, what we're going to do is launch. So on a countdown of 5, we're going to hit the space bar, and that's going to be our first launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Now we're off. One of the things that I like to do here is right about 50 meters per second, I'm going to start leaning over with the D key. And the reason why I wait till 50 meters per second is if you do it too early, your craft will uncontrollably just fall into the ocean. If you go too late and get too much speed, you won't even be able to lean over because of how thick the atmosphere is in the beginning. So as we continue, I'm still holding down the D key. You can see my yaw right here is pitched all the way over. And I'm just going to keep going, and I'm trying to get to the 45 degree mark on my nav ball. Now I probably won't actually make it to that, and that's perfectly fine. Next thing you want to do, hit your maneuver node mode and see how high your epileps is. Now when this stage runs out, I'm not going to decouple right away because I don't want my craft to flip out. So we have reached the burnout, and I'm going to keep this going. We are going up to 30 right now, 30 kilometers. I'm going to wait till I hit to about 20. And once I hit 20 is when I'm going to do my decouple. All right, we're at 20, and we've engaged the next stage. Here you have a little more leniency on moving around because we're now in a lighter atmosphere. And what I'm going to do now is just try to hold us on the 45 until we get about to 50 kilometer epileps. Now I've tried this one, and you can get all the way up to like 330,000 or 330 kilometers up. Now that we hit 50, I'm going to start banking us over just a little at a time. And when my end goal is to get us all the way to 0 degrees by 70 kilometer epileps. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm starting to add more horizontal velocity, and this is going to give my craft more time to slow down in the atmosphere and not just come straight in, which would be the shortest distance in atmosphere if you're just coming straight down into the atmosphere. So now there we go, we're burning sideways. We're already in space, or we're not in space, but our epileps is at 80 kilometers. And I'm just going to burn it all the way out. There you go. So now we have reached an epileps. What a nice picture that is. we've reached an apoapse of 95 kilometers, which is well within space. You can go ahead and ditch the stage at any time. And as you can see, because I put the parachute in with the decoupler, my parachute is already staged as well. So I don't have to worry about doing any more staging now. We just reached an altitude of 70 kilometers, which is the line from atmosphere to space. So if you had that contract, you would now have achieved it. If you had science right now, you could go ahead and do your crew reports, temperature scans, all of that. And the only thing you're going to want to look at next is as you speed up, which I'm going to speed up so we're not sitting here forever, you just want to make sure you put the heat shield towards reentry. And we're going to be coming down into the darkness. So I do apologize for that, but that's just how it's going to be. Being that I don't have any other pieces attached to this capsule, aerodynamically it is going to go through the atmosphere butt first. So the heat shield will always face that. So once you hit the atmosphere again at 69 kilometers, go ahead and you can turn SAS off and the ship will land itself now. So there we are at 69 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and turn SAS off, and you'll see that it will naturally, if you look at the nav ball, naturally want to go back to retrograde. And I clicked over to surface because that's what it's going to actually go to. Now it's going to maybe wiggle a little bit because it's still in the thinner atmosphere. But as you get closer into the thicker atmosphere, it will center on your retrograde marker. I'm going to go ahead and speed us up. I know you can't see it, but there's nothing you can really see there. The nav ball is going to tell you more actually than the visual. You can see that we're starting to get some heat now. And let me show you real quick on the heat shield. There's your ablator getting ate up by the heat, right? You will notice that we are not going to use a whole lot of this 40 ablator that we put on here. It's already starting to slow down. And there you go. I mean, we used less than 10. So you could run easily at 20 and add a little more delta V to your ship. I'll just speed us down. Like I said, there's not going to be a lot to see now, so I do apologize for night, but I don't have any mods on here, and because of that, I'm trying to show as vanilla as possible, so anyone that's not into the modding yet or just doesn't care for mods, this is what you're going to see as well. Chute has deployed. We've slowed down, and let's just get into the water, and we will call this tutorial complete. Another thing you want to make sure you do is don't forget when you land in the water, that's a biome as well. So you can go out and collect science there as well. So don't just hit the water because, you know, we all get excited that we accomplished something new and forget to get that extra science for yourself. All right, I will see you guys back at the KSC. Well, that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Max Thrust Gaming. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the little bell thingy so you know my next video is coming. Again, appreciate you being here. This is Max Thrust, and I'm out.